So we just witnessed Ripple release all of the details regarding Ripple Swell 2025, and let's just say this is a stacked event. With all of the speakers at this event, the overview of the event, and everything happening around it as well, I do think that this is going to be one of the most important Ripple Swells to date. And remember what I've always mentioned when it comes to Ripple Swell, and even remember what David Schwartz, the Ripple CTO, told us. He said that it's crazy that Ripple, even back in the early days of Ripple Swell, we're going back almost 10 plus years ago now, Ripple, a blockchain-based company, was basically holding a banking conference. That's what he called Ripple Swell, a banking conference. And when we actually think about the names that are included at these events and what's being discussed at these events, it does make sense to call it a banking conference. But it's crazy that a blockchain-based company is holding this type of event with the names that are included at it. For an example, we have big news. The chair and CEO, I mean, this is crazy. The chair and the CEO of NASDAQ is joining Ripple in New York City as a keynote speaker at Ripple Swell 2025. She'll explore the future of the financial system, the potential of digital assets and blockchain, and the evolving role of tokenization and emerging technologies. And yes, this is Adina Friedman. And when we think about this, right, we're talking about the evolution of the entire financial system. The way that stocks are traded, the way that stocks are ultimately not even just traded, but, held, right? Custody is changing. The way that we buy, sell, and trade things is changing. The underlying infrastructure is changing. And when we think about the NASDAQ, remember that just recently the NASDAQ said that they want to move to 24/5 trading days and eventually 24/7. That's actually going to be starting in 2026. So these big players are now officially ready. And on top of this, when we go over here from Digital Asset Investor, we can see that BlackRock is also coming to Ripple Swell 2025. This is Maxwell Stein. This is Director of Digital Assets at BlackRock. We could see the full breakdown behind Maxwell's resume and, just what he's actually focused on. The main thing here is designing and implementing products focused on crypto assets, stablecoins, and tokenized assets as well. So this is a pretty significant name. And when we actually go over here to the Ripple Swell website, we could see that this is going to be held on November 4th through the 5th in New York this year. And just looking at a few things, right, we could see a few of the featured speakers. So right off the rip, we do see the chair and the CEO of NASDAQ, Sandy Cole from Franklin Templeton here. Again, just a few names from Ripple. Then we also have Citi, Global Head of Digital Assets, Treasury, and Trade Solutions from Citi, the Chief Product and Innovation Officer at BNY. Then when we actually go to the speakers list and just scroll down, we could see BlackRock, Fidelity, Hidden Road, DBS Bank, CME Group, XTX Markets, and then we also have Ripple. I do think that this is going to get a lot more populated over time. We're going to have to keep a close eye on this, but I mean, this is going to be one of the most significant events to really kind of focus on around crypto. We could see the session topics over the course of 2 days. Ripple Swell will cover a wide range of topics from Ripple customers, team members, and industry thought leaders to reveal how financial institutions and businesses alike are leveraging crypto and blockchain technology. Topics include, and we could see all of them down here, regional regulatory progress, payments, crypto and financial services, industry trends, and a lot more will be discussed at this. So I'm very excited for this event. I think everyone should be paying attention to what, these types of events involve, which again, most of these conversations are conversations that will reshape the way that money itself moves around the world 24/7, 365, and also how these traditional markets actually work. So this is a very important event. Add it to your calendar. Make sure that you guys, focus on these dates, because I'm sure that a lot of information will be flooding socials during that time. Now, let's actually talk about the big news, which is, of course, the SEC has flipped officially on crypto ETPs. We have the SEC released listing standards for crypto ETPs via new exchange filing, with any coin of over 6 months of futures trading on Coinbase derivatives appearing likely for approval. September or October timing expected for multiple altcoin ETFs approval. And we can actually see, what those projects would be. Of course, yes, XRP would be included in this. Even Hedera, XLM, Chainlink, Avalanche, Polkadot, Dogecoin, Bitcoin Cash, Litecoin. I mean, guys, I want you guys to realize these ETFs, it's not so much about, oh, hey, look at these ETFs are going to pump our bags. These ETFs, the craziest thing about this is crypto infiltrating Wall Street in a big way. Traditional finance is being shaken up by crypto and digital assets in a way that we've never really seen before. And this is making a ton of noise. It's so much noise that they can't drown it out anymore, right? Like in the past, yeah, sure, they could have just avoided this stuff. They could have just ignored it and said, oh yeah, crypto, it's just a phase. But guess what? You know, they could have said that back in 2020, 2021. 2025, it's a completely different world, right? BlackRock's here, Fidelity's here, Franklin Templeton's here, the big banks are here, stablecoins are becoming 1% plus of the, global M2 supply. I mean, the shift is here. It's already happening. It's impossible to ignore now. And that's why these ETFs are going to get greenlit in a very fast way. And I guarantee you that we will see, a ton of money flooding this space over the coming months, just for like when we think about retail, okay, retail is not here in those big waves that we've seen before. The main ones that are moving this market right now are institutional players. So these ETFs are perfect for the institutional players to force feed digital assets and, the crypto space to retail in terms of like a huge wave. Because again, these ETFs start to create a ton of buzz, mainstream media jumps on them, and they're getting shilled heavily to the retail sector. That's what's going to bring that retail flood back into crypto. Now, on top of this, we have over here from John Squire, the SEC has released new listing standards for crypto ETPs. Any altcoin with 6+ months of futures trading may qualify. XRP has been very strong in derivatives with 30K plus volume and 23K plus open interest, meets all criteria. That means that the XRP ETF is likely going to happen in September or October. And if we're thinking about how perfect this is, what have I been saying with the Fed? Rate cuts September, October, December. If we think about how bullish the environment is right now around the altcoin market, I cannot even begin to tell you guys how excited I am for us to get into September to really kind of see the fireworks hitting big. This is a very good time to be focused on altcoins. But on top of that, if we actually go over here, look at all of those ETF filings with the SEC. We are still waiting on approval of all of these. And it's not just 11 ETFs. No. Some of these names like ProShares have 4 ETFs tied to it. So if we're looking at this, there's almost 18 different ETFs for XRP that we are still waiting on. The second that we see one get the green light, every single one of these are going to fall in line. Now, a lot of you keep saying, what about BlackRock? Nate Garashi put out a great post regarding this. He said, sticking with prediction that BlackRock will launch both XRP and Solana ETFs, doesn't make sense that world's largest asset manager and current leader in both spot Bitcoin and Ethereum ETFs would ignore 2 top 5 non-stablecoin crypto assets. I also expect them to launch index-based crypto ETF. If launching index-based crypto ETF, which I'm highly confident that they will, then you're launching individual spot ETFs. I get the BlackRock is all in on Ethereum or they think XRP is a scam. This is all about business. They open up flank, not pursuing additional spot ETFs in my opinion. Otherwise, the message to clients and prospective investors is there will only ever be 2 winners in crypto, Bitcoin and Ethereum. If they truly believe that, then great. I suspect they don't. Meanwhile, Vanguard is still focused on blockchain, not Bitcoin, still early. And yeah, I do think that this will also happen. It's at a time where even if we look at the Coinbase Q2 2025 earnings report, big shout to Dom Kwok for this, but we do have XRP holders are the most valuable in the whole of crypto. XRP accounted for a higher percentage of Coinbase trading revenue than Ethereum or even Solana. This is showing these big institutional players that the demand for XRP is so significant that it's outpacing revenue for Ethereum and even Solana. If we think about that, Ethereum is the second largest crypto asset. So far, BlackRock has been making a ton of money off of the Ethereum ETF. I'm looking at this immediately and saying, okay, maybe we did something wrong here. Maybe we should have went after an XRP ETF instead of an Ethereum one second. So now the best way to get behind this is say, well, guess what? We no longer can just go after XRP second. We already have that Bitcoin and Ethereum ETF. We need to get this right, and let's get an XRP ETF going right now. So they immediately file. The environment is perfect for any big player like BlackRock that wants to file. The timeline is perfect here. September, October, especially with the new guidance from the SEC. This market's about to wake up in a big way. I keep saying it. I keep talking about it. I don't think people realize that we are still in the early phase of alt season. We are in phase 2, the beginning phase still of phase 2 for Ethereum. When we really start to see these altcoins go crazy, yeah, that $3 XRP or that $3.60 is, again, $3.60 for XRP, it's great. But guys, when alt season is officially here, that number could quickly grow by 2 to 3x. Again, I don't think people realize how bullish some of these altcoins are like XRP, especially when the environment looks the way it does around crypto right now in the US. It just continues to get even more and more bullish for these types of projects that have a ton of utility and have been really legitimized over the years because of, companies like Ripple. But on top of that, we also got a big update on the 28th, and this was actually with hyperscale data. They got a huge boost. XRP accumulation plan drove a 12% jump on their stock. So their stock increased by 12% because of their XRP accumulation plan. When we think about this, that's why all of these companies are lining up for XRP reserves or treasury, positions. These are all of the companies. There's 10 of them. Let me just zoom out so that you guys can see all of them. We have a $500 million reserve and staking with Trident. Weebus with a $300 million investment for payments and treasury. Vivo with $100 million for staking and yield. Logistics, $50 million for operations and liquidity. Then the rest are pretty small, but still, it's the fact that we're starting to see that legitimization from major companies, even the ETF players. They all realize the demand that XRP is driving right now, just from the retail side. Think about the overall demand from the institutional side too. I mean, think about it. Ripple is driving institutional DeFi initiatives onto the XRP ledger, and this Ripple Swell event is going to be a very big event to really kind of tap in and realize where they are headed going forward. We know that Ripple wants the XRP ledger to be that dominant powerhouse behind institutional DeFi initiatives and even tokenization initiatives. When we think about the environment right now around XRP, it couldn't be more bullish, which is why when we think about what's happening with the SEC, with these ETFs, when we think about what's happening even with, tokenization and stablecoins, I really think that we are in for a very, very good few months ahead of us. Once we get through August, because I'm not expecting a lot to happen in August, I would love to be surprised by it. But, I think that towards the end of this year, we're going to watch as some of these altcoins like XRP just completely melt faces. So with that being said, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys definitely leave a like, subscribe, turn notifications on because of more free content. You guys are more than welcome to follow me on Twitter and join the free Discord down in the description below. And with that being said, guys, it's been Nick. Thanks for watching. Peace out.